Democrats have already won that war. At the Democratic National Convention, their keynote speaker was a serial adulterer and forcible rapist, Bill Clinton. The convention also featured a tribute video to Teddy Kennedy, who has the only confirmed kill in the war on women. War on women is that apparently some taxpayers don't feel like they should be obliged to pay for Sandra Fluke's birth control. I personally think that haircut is birth control enough. The war on women is a classic liberal slogan, the sort of mob attributes that I describe in my second to last book, Demonic. That's a good one. Well, I'll sign those too. We're getting all of the left's groupthink attributes, because it's a presidential election year, so we have the slogans, the images. The slogans have always annoyed me the most, because slogans always give off the impression of meaning, but if you think about it for 30 seconds, they never mean anything. It's kind of like an Obama speech. When Bush was president, I did a lot of college speeches, and I heard, Bush lied, kids died, Bush lied, kids died, so much at college speeches, I started answering the phone that way. One sad thing about the Obama administration is, since he's been president, I don't really bring out the liberal protesters on college campuses anymore. And I thought I had lost my mojo, and then I realized, no, they just don't know what the chant is. I'd like to protest, but where's the Bush lied, kids died chant we're gonna yell? Other slogans I like: pro-choice, pro-child. What does that mean? Dissent is patriotic. Footnote: unless Obama is president, then dissent is racist. And my all-time Academy Award-winning favorite is You Can't Hug a Child with Nuclear Arms. And you also can't bomb a Russian city with a small American child. It was slogans that got Obama elected: hope and change, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Here's a little known fact. The second choice to hope and change as a slogan was, I'm going to raise the national debt by $6 trillion and not create a single job. That wouldn't fit on the bumper sticker, so we went with hope and change. So now we have this jug-eared lunkhead in the White House who's created a financial miracle economists refer to as the Carter years. Conservatives are terrible with coming up with slogans, because we read. According to a 2009 report by the aforementioned tax chief, Timothy Geithner, Obama's Treasury Secretary, in 2009 he wrote a report saying within 10 years, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and interest on the national debt to pay for these programs would consume 92 cents of every federal budget dollar. For the non-mathematicians in the crowd, that means 8 cents of every federal dollar would be left over to fund the entire United States military, national parks, food inspections, the Supreme Court, the FDA. I have some ideas for cutting down John Roberts, Pelosi's salaries, congressional staff. Our guys can do it on their own. I don't know why. I keep seeing Republicans on TV talking about the entitlement, saying we've got to reform them for our grandchildren. What are they talking about? We have to reform them for today's 45-year-olds. Right now, 45 years old or younger will get any Medicare or Social Security. That is the path we're on. Right. Meanwhile, while Democrats keep running, their counter-argument is to run a commercial of a Paul Ryan look-alike, pushing an old lady off a cliff in a wheelchair. That's their answer. They kept saying when Romney picked Ryan as his vice president, as his running mate, oh, it's going to kill Romney in states with a lot of elderly people. Well, as you probably know, because I'm most Republican county, so the Romney-Ryan plan on Medicare doesn't touch anyone 55 years old or older. So are we now referring to 54-year-olds as the elderly? Unless you, the New York Times, are planning on lying to the public, why would picking Ryan harm Romney in states with the elderly? It makes no sense, but I keep hearing on MSNBC, this is a specialty of Lawrence O'Donnell's, touting, angrily saying, the most popular government program in world history is Medicare. Most popular program. And they determine this by asking the recipients of Medicare if they liked it. It's like asking 6-year-olds, do you think birthdays are a good idea? Since all our entitlements are working so well and, holding up 40 years later, Obama decided to create a new one. But instead of a smaller slice of the population, the elderly, the poor, no, it's going to be every man, woman, and child in America will now have the entitlement of health care. Because the problem with health care was, before Obamacare, everything that was wrong with health care, everything that was wrong with health insurance was because of the government. It was because of government intervention in many ways, but specifically with the mandates on what health insurance had to require. States would give insurance companies, if you're selling health insurance in our state, you have to cover these 17 different conditions, which was based not on a careful examination of a catastrophic event that someone might want covered by insurance, but which of the practitioners had the best lobbyists. So most health insurance covers 18 billion things you would never insure if you could just choose insurance on a free market. They almost all cover marital counseling, gambling addiction, speech therapy, hearing therapy, restless leg addiction. How about cancer? Could I just get the streamlined heart attack cancer plan? Because I am fairly certain I am not going to have a recovered memory that my father molested me. I can move that part of the insurance aside. I'll save on that one. The whole idea of insurance is to insure against a catastrophe. For flood insurance, tornado insurance, car insurance. You get it in case you have a hurricane, a fire, an accident, a sudden marriage to a Kardashian daughter. You buy insurance in case your house burns down, not so everybody in the plan shares the cost of a maid, washing the windows, but that's what health insurance has become in America. We've just gotten so used to it, you don't even think about all the things you're paying for that you don't want to pay for. That's why it's expensive. That's why young, healthy people don't choose to purchase insurance. The way you can tell if something ought to be covered by health insurance is to ask yourself if you've ever heard something like, my aunt died of lack of contraception. Family down on the street corner, yeah, they went bankrupt from lack of contraception. As usual, the Democrats' solution to a problem created by the government was more government. We'll just stage a total government takeover. It's like trying to sober up by having another drink, and let me tell you, that does not work. I have tried. Apparently, we have to keep relearning the lesson that everything provided by the free market will, over time, get better and cheaper. Everything provided by the government will get more expensive and worse. So, the private sector has given us cheap long-distance service, cell phones, flat-screen TVs, dog walkers, Jiffy Lube, even air travel. Everything about air travel is cheaper and better, except the parts run by the government. By contrast, exactly. By contrast, the government has given us the TSA, lousy mail service at a cost of, which they're losing $1 billion on. They have a monopoly on mail service. That's why FedEx, has to guarantee delivery the next day or 2 days later, because it's against the law to compete with the U.S. mail. They have a monopoly, and they're losing money. Amtrak food service, I don't know if you've heard about this. You probably haven't experienced, but it's really something. The Amtrak food service car will be open for about 10 minutes on a 4-hour trip. You stand in line for 2 hours and get a 2-week-old turkey sandwich for $17. They're losing $80 million a year. They have a monopoly on the trains. Give it to Chick-fil-A. They can turn a profit. More expensive public education system that produces ever more ignorant children. They can't read or do basic math, but they totally know about global warming. Only the government could spend $2 trillion a year on transfers of wealth to the poor and still have poor people. That is because the Democrats' true constituency is never what they claim it is. It's not the poor, it's not minorities, it's not the elderly. It's the government workers ministering to these people. The heavily unionized, well-pensioned, excellent, gold-plated health care government workers who will automatically vote Democratic. That's the true constituency. So color me suspicious when liberals say that the government taking over health care will be a real cost saver. What a free market would look like in health insurance, all of the things people were angry at Mitt Romney for saying in one of the debates that his plan to fix reform health care, oh yes, of course, preconditions would be covered. And John Stossel said to me, so he's going to have the government mandate it? And I said, no, he's going to allow a little free market magic.